The Rockets and Lakers face off tonight, and Houston is on a bit of a hot streak, having won 12 of their last 13 games, while LA is hoping to maintain its place at number 4 in the Western Conference, sitting 1.5 games back from Denver and 1 game up on Memphis at number 5. Lakers reporter Dave McMenamin and NBA analyst Tim Legler is with us now. Dave, so the Lakers, they're coming off of a road win over the Grizzlies. What happened before that game that they hope that can fuel them for this next stretch?
Yeah, Christine, JJ Redick gathered LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and Austin Reeves for a morning meeting in Memphis prior to that game to end their road trip, and basically told them, you guys, all 3 have the keys to our car, and you need to make sure you drive it properly. And basically, it was a compliment to all 3 of them, telling them how great they are offensively, but they can be even greater if they don't try to go for things where it's an individual 1-on-2, 1-on-3 matchup, manipulate the defense to get us better looks. And the results were tremendous against the Memphis Grizzlies later that night. The 3 of them combined for 85 points, 25 assists, accounted for 120 of the 134 points that the Lakers scored. And they're going to need that type of execution down the stretch, because 4 of the remaining 8 games the Lakers have are against teams ahead of them in the Western Conference standings, starting with tonight against the Houston Rockets.
All right, we love a good analogy. Tim, Dave just mentioned that 134 points, but they gave up 127 to Memphis. Is their offense good enough to make up for their defensive lapses in order to make a deep postseason run?
Yeah, I believe it is. And look, you're talking about an offense that's got 2 players that are as dynamic as it gets in this league in terms of playmaking and creating their own offense. What you saw the other night was a game they won in which their defense was subpar, but I think the sample we've gotten of this team defensively, after Luka got there and acclimated himself a few games, that stretch they had before LeBron's injury was really, to me, what the Lakers' ceiling can be defensively. It's better than it was against Memphis the other night, and I think their offense can be so good it can overcome it on those nights. Look, I think it comes down to this. The Western Conference has one team that clearly is in a different place than everybody else, and that's Oklahoma City. So now we sit here and try to figure out who's going to jockey for position to be the last team standing when it's all said and done. Lakers are clearly going to be in that mix because their offense can be so good on most nights, it can overcome even what defensive lapses they have.
Yeah, and their defense, when they had that run that Tim was referring to, had Rui Hachimura on the lineup. And now he is back, and he started to come into form late in that road trip. JJ Redick said that with the 2 remaining back-to-backs that they have on the schedule, they hope to have Rui in the lineup for both legs of that. So certainly that gives another switchable defender, someone with size, someone with speed, and they hope can add to the mix as they get back to that defensive standard that they set.
Okay, let's talk about a team in the West that we haven't talked that much about. This Rockets team, they're second in the West. Are they legit contenders in your mind, Tim?
I believe they are, and here's why. I'm going to define contender by a team that potentially could get to the conference finals, because if you can get there, then you're 1 series away from playing for a championship, and a lot of things can happen in that series with injuries, foul trouble, guys that have poor series. So you got to get yourself to that place. And I think, look, with the Western Conference, who has made a convincing enough argument that they are clearly the team that can challenge Oklahoma City at the highest level? I think Houston has every bit a right to be in that debate. And I think when you look at what they have done recently, this is a team that's been top 4 in the defense all year. Now they've been top 4 offensively over the last 10 games. Now, I know that their schedule has helped. They haven't played a lot of top quality teams, and we're going to see here over the next couple of weeks as they finish this season, they've got 5 games against other teams currently in the top 6 in the West along with them. Maybe that tells you more about the Rockets, but I look at it like this. If they're still standing after a 6-game losing streak that they had in early February, and now they've righted the ship to the extent that you mentioned, you're winning 11 out of 12. Yes, Houston can make a case that they also could be that last team to take on Oklahoma City at the end.
All right, it feels like it's OKC versus everybody in the West just trying to take them down. Dave, thanks for the insight. Tim, before you go, 5 players and 2 coaches were ejected.
Finals a year ago, they're a defensive-minded team. Both of their identities rest there. Not shocked. If this is going to break out, then it's 2 teams.
Let's start with yourself.
Look, the best team in basketball, period. I know the Cavs, OKC, they got 60-plus wins, but when it comes down to who's going to be the 2025 NBA champions, We're talking about the boys in green. And not just because Jason Tatum is playing at the MVP level. It's not just because Jaylen Brown is a second, all-star caliber, all-NBA player. It's the others, Peyton Pritchard, Luke Cornett, Kristaps Porzingis, who's the X factor, his ability to stretch the floor, his ability to take advantage of post-ups.
What about the Oklahoma City?
Going to the NBA final, win the MVP and SGA. And then when you think about the Thunder, they lead in every defensive category. They rank number one in everything. And I'm loving what I'm seeing as far as the chemistry between Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren, especially the big-to-big pass.
You mentioned the Lakers got that big win over Memphis. What can you say about the Lakers?
Well, they gotta score, because obviously the defense is not there. Obviously, Luka Doncic is the defensive liability. But I'm gonna say this. Luka, LeBron, yes, they're the best players on the Los Angeles Lakers. The most important player is Austin Reeves. When he scores over 20 points, I believe the Lakers are like 25-7 or something to that nature. He's not a role player, but he's not an all-star. I'm trying to find a name for him because he's right there in between. But the trust that they have in Austin Reeves, to be able to create for himself and create for others, it's a beautiful thing to see. And LeBron James, when you're on the floor with him, you don't trust a lot of guys.
Interesting, because our ESPN analytics have the Lakers' first-round matchup probably being the Grizzlies here. Bobby, what do you expect? Because the Lakers have got a big one tonight against the Rockets. We know the Rockets are the 2 seed right now in the West. Give me your thoughts on the Lakers-Rockets matchup.
Yeah, I think there's 2 things to keep an eye on tonight. Certainly offensive rebounding for Houston. This is the best offensive rebounding team in the NBA. They had 13 last night against Phoenix, 25 second chance points. And the other thing, and Perk alluded to earlier, is the ability to make shots for Houston. This is not a great three-point shooting team, but they made 58% against Phoenix last night. If the Lakers leave them open, can they make three-point shots here? I'm interested to see Dillon Brooks. He gets thrown out of the game against Phoenix. He's got 15 technical fouls right now. One more technical foul, and we're looking at a suspension for Dillon Brooks. And of course, as you know, going against the Lakers with LeBron, that's kind of his chief nemesis here.
You know, the interesting thing, Perk, Lakers have 8 games left. 4 against the Rockets, 4 against the Thunder. What do you think is the best optimal matchup for LA when you talk about the playoffs?
Well, it's actually 3 teams that I'm looking at. One is the Houston Rockets, because I feel like experience will kick in, the IQ of LeBron James, and again, the lack of shooting that